Hi everyone, this is Subha. I am going to discuss a scenario in this video, which is related to crisis management in a portfolio. Let me read out the scenario first and then we will discuss. You are a portfolio manager. You discover a serious unanticipated issue in the area of portfolio performance and an urgent decision is required to resolve the issue. What should you do first? A. Check the risk register and select an appropriate response. B. Request an emergency meeting or teleconference. C. Contact the portfolio sponsor and ask for a decision. And D. Escalate the issue during the portfolio review meeting. See, this is a kind of a situation which happens often in projects, programs, portfolios. This is like a very likely situation in any initiative, and one should be knowing that what is the right thing to do if a crisis or a disaster situation occurs in your project or program or portfolio. So for this particular scenario, it's about portfolio, but more or less the same thought process would be for projects and programs as well. So if I have to point out some key terminologies over here, which is going to connect this scenario to the right answer, you are facing a serious unanticipated issue, and this is a discovery. So it was not known before. This is important, and unanticipated is also telling you the same thing. So serious unanticipated issue which requires urgent decision, right? So you don't have too much time, you don't have too many people to talk to, you require something to make the situation stable, right? And in this particular case, multiple things can be done actually, but the very first thing, the very first likely thing that you will do. Now, one by one, the option choices. Check the risk register and select an appropriate response, which is option A. So when I posted this question on my regular Thursday PfMP poll, I observed that around 45% of the delegates went for option A, 34% went for option B. So around 75 to 80% was covered with option A, and both of the options are wrong actually. So why not A? Why we would not check the risk register to go for an appropriate response? Maybe someone would say that maybe we already have some planned response available in for a same or similar situation. So why not checking the risk register? At least for that portfolio and for that situation, you don't have any planned response because it is an unanticipated issue. It's an issue. So most likely risk register is not going to be the right artifact, and it could be a right artifact if it was not an unanticipated one. If it was an anticipated situation that was identified, reviewed, planned in the risk register, but maybe because of the poor risk management or maybe because of the poor health of the risk action, that is converted into issue. If that had been the situation, yes, A would have been the best answer to go with. So for a situation which you would have said you discover a serious anticipated issue in the area of performance management, then yes, A would have been the best choice. But for an unanticipated situation, no, risk register is not going to be the best artifact to go for. Maybe yes, maybe no, depending on more context. Maybe someone would say that maybe in a past phase 6 months ago, something similar occurred. Maybe that was not identified right now, but it was identified earlier, maybe 1 year back, 2 years back. For that, we need more context. But if it is an unanticipated one, never discussed, never identified, never documented in risk register, A is not going to be the first thing to do, right? So A is out on this ground because you didn't have an appropriate response. Right? B, when I posted this question, most of the people shared their thought process via comments and voice notes that in this same or similar situation in our portfolios, maybe we would go with B because we would ask for, or maybe we would conduct an emergency meeting or teleconference or video conference or whatsoever. Agreed. But this is a partial answer. This is not a complete answer or not the most effective answer. Why? Because it's only saying you conduct an emergency meeting, which is fine. But conducting an emergency meeting is also demands an understanding of who you are conducting it with. This is important because this is a serious matter. It's a crisis situation, right? It's going to put your portfolio at stake, its benefits and its outcomes at stake. And it requires an urgent decision as well. So it means that you don't have like too many iterations available with you, at least for the first level of support. So emergency meeting, totally fine. But with whom? Right? With steering committee, with the sponsor, with subject matter expert, with executive manager, with whom? I mean, it's not going to be like any person or every person. No, not at all. We do not deal the crisis situation like this. For instance, let's take the example that, God forbid, fire breaks out in your office. Are you going to think about it like who I'm going to gather in a boardroom to talk about it? No, for sure no. You require an immediate solution. You need to like just in the span of like couple of seconds, you need to recall that who is the right person to talk to, and where I can find that person, and what's the right channel to talk about it. Like this is exactly how we get trained on the different crisis situations, different type of crisis situations in the regular work setup as well. And same is the case in projects as well. Right? So you need someone, and that probably is going to be one person. And that should be the best person to talk to, who has that necessary influence, power, decision-making authority. And that someone is sponsor. Sponsor at any level. In case of portfolio, the portfolio sponsor. In case of program, the program is sponsor. In case of project, the project is sponsor. Is that accountable person who has the most power and authority. If it's like only one person, that person is sponsor who has the most power and influence in that initiative, right? So you go to the sponsor, ask for a decision, and just do like the necessary step as per his directive. Maybe the decision is going to be suggested by you as a portfolio manager, but you probably would need his approval, his consent to proceed that way because it's a serious matter. Probably your authority is limited to make the decision on your own, right? So yes, in some crisis situation, portfolio manager could be the right authority as well, right? But just randomly saying, ambiguously saying that let's conduct a meeting, emergency meeting with ABC XYZ. This is definitely not going to be helpful. You need someone who has that authority, that decision-making power. So why not D? So C is actually the right answer to this question for the same reason. Why not D? Escalate the issue during a portfolio review. For obvious reasons. This is a serious matter. This is a disastrous matter. It requires an urgent decision. Gathering the steering committee is an elite group of members. They usually have their meetings pre-scheduled, like way ahead of time. That those sessions, those meetings are usually scheduled way ahead of time on their calendars. So I'm not suggesting that emergency meetings cannot be conducted with steering committee or portfolio governance board. Yes, that could be an option as well. So had C not been there, option C had not been there, then yes, we would have gone with option D in this situation. But between C and D, going to the sponsor is going to expedite the matter. waiting for the steering committee to gather for the review and decision making, maybe yes, maybe C followed by D is going to be the right order. And so in some cases, when a sponsor is also not available to speak or to provide a decision, then sponsor usually uh, has given that delegated authority to portfolio manager in the portfolio governance plan that if I'm unavailable and if a situation is severe, requires urgent response, then yes, portfolio manager has that authority to make the necessary decisions and the informed decisions and the best decision as per his discretion. Right? Of course, he should be keeping every necessary stakeholder informed. He should be communicating the decision to every stakeholder, but making the decision is someone's responsibility, and that someone ideally sponsor, followed by portfolio manager in case of a disastrous or crisis situation. Portfolio review meeting is going to happen, definitely going to happen. So when the first level of support and the first level of stability is achieved, then yes, portfolio manager is going to conduct the proper review meeting with our portfolio governance board to demonstrate the situation, to present the current state, and like he's going to invite for their insight and opinion. So this is how it occurs in reality as well. In the real life situations as well, we proceeded this way. Right? So C, as per this context, is the right answer to this question. I hope you like this explanation. If you have any follow-up questions, any queries related to this scenario or to similar scenario, feel free to ask in the comment section. I will be back very soon with a new PfMP scenario. Till then, take care. Goodbye.